balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is one back. Walk the ball. Reyes Taylor.
Hi, everyone, and welcome into another DodgerHeads live postgame show. My name is Matthew Moreno, and joining me tonight, as you can all see, is no one. You guys. I appreciate everybody who's already in the chat on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Blake is covering the game at the stadium. He's probably down in the clubhouse right now. We had some scheduling conflicts with the rest of our staff. So it's just me and you tonight. So I'm going to do my best to get us all through this. I'm going to certainly rely on you guys, questions and feedback and stuff like that as we're going along. We're still going to have a great show. And again, thank you, everybody who's joining us. I see you guys popping in. I appreciate the words of encouragement. We've got another great one planned tonight that, of course, is going to include kind of talking through tonight's game, the Dodgers jumping ahead early, falling behind, then coming back. Plus, we've got some interesting updates on James Outman being back up with the team. Good news for Jason Heyward, despite his knee injury. And Miguel Vargas, he might be in for maybe a little bit of a position change potentially down the line. And like always, there's going to be some time at the end to answer your questions. But a quick reminder that if you want me to stop what I'm discussing, or if you have a question you want answered kind of right away and you're on YouTube, then Super Chat is definitely the way to go. I'll address that, throw it up on the screen. We can all then kick it around and discuss it. And those also help support our channel and continue to grow. So we certainly appreciate that. And if you are joining me tonight on YouTube, please remember to hit the like button on this video specifically, and also make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, ring the notification bell and all that to make sure you don't miss any player interviews, videos from events, things like that. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts. So a big thank you, as always, to our audio listeners as well. And please remember to subscribe, rate, and review there as well. Now, before we get into tonight's show, I just want to make sure everybody knows about our sponsor, So Rare. You've heard us talking about them in the past. They're getting ready for a big summer as the weather kind of starts to heat up. Obviously, everybody tends to think baseball, and So Rare is bringing in over $225,000 in total cash prizes and other amazing rewards throughout the month of July. Best of all, remember that So Rare is free to play. And for this month, they're going to introduce some exciting gameplay rules, including extra points for pitching categories, which adds kind of a new level in strategy to the game. If you've played it with any of our staff, then you know what I'm talking about. And also keep an eye out for some interesting all-star events as well. It's your chance to kind of shine and enjoy the Midsummer Classic while competing against some of the best on So Rare. Finally, you can dive into the July Chase, where the first place winner can take home up to $15,000. So don't miss your chance to manage your dream team, dominate some leaderboards, talk a little bit of trash, win big. And best of all, like I said, it's free to sign up. We have a link for you. We've made it easy. It's in the description of this video. If you're listening to the podcast, it is in those notes as well. So we have our first super chat tonight. Maddie Man 5. No question. He says he just appreciates me coming on late on a Friday. Hey, I'm happy to do it. You guys are making it easy by being in here with me. I don't have to sit here and talk to myself. I could throw up your guys' questions and comments as we're sort of going along. So thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. And I appreciate, like I said, everybody being in here tonight. So let's get into tonight's game. The Dodgers, it was another wild one for them. Like I said, it wasn't quite a walk-off. I thought maybe it was going to be trending in that direction. They took an early lead thanks to Will Smith hitting a home run in the first inning, and you might sense a common theme with that as we're sort of going along. He hit his second home run of the night in the second inning. That put the Dodgers up 2-0. They remained ahead until Rhys Hoskins hit a grand slam in the fourth inning. Tyler Glasnow had been sailing up until that point. He was perfect through the first three innings, ran into some trouble in the fourth, gave up that grand slam. Dodgers all of a sudden then were trailing the blink of an eye. Miguel Vargas then got in on the home run party himself. He hit a 2-run shot in the bottom of the fourth to cut the Dodgers deficit to 5-4. That remained the score until the seventh inning when Will Smith tied it with a solo home run that hit off the foul pole. The game remained tied until the eighth inning when Freddie Freeman poked a 2-run single up the middle. Teoscar Hernandez added onto it with an RBI double. The rest was sort of history. The Dodgers finished with 6 unanswered runs to finish their 8-5 win. And I told you guys that I was doing this alone, but we have a surprise that I even wasn't anticipating until he popped in, and I'm sure I can't wait to see the chat. Scott, let me go ahead and fix this really quick. Get you in the boxes with us. How's it going?
How we doing? We move. What a ball game, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, this is the perfect. I'm glad you were able to end up making it home in time to be on, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of Miguel Vargas talk tonight, and that's right up your alley.
Damn right. There has to be. I mean, it's a lot of people tonight. What's up, chat? It's good to see all you guys. I was at work, my bad, but I saw Matt doing it alone. I didn't see anybody else added on the notification thing. So I was like, we got to run inside. What's up, everybody? But yes, like as I was glancing up at the TVs going on at work, I was seeing Miguel Vargas just take, good at bats and stuff, more of what we've seen. It's been hard to watch him. Like, you look down the box score, if anybody's taken a look, aside from just, bits and pieces. What's up, guys? What's up, Kenny? Like, production going on. It's hard to say, like, who in the world can get more opportunities. It was tough looking at Kevin Biggio getting more at bats since Miguel Vargas has been up and Kevin Biggio has been there. And it's like, what are we doing? I know he's strictly, a left fielder, Miggy V, but what are we doing? He just looks so much more locked in at the plate. He swings at a first pitch sinker that was supposed to be outside. Fastball might have been outer half, just bleeds inside, gets his hands in, line drive homer. What are we doing? So it's just an awesome day for the people that want, productive players to get some more run, and just what a ball game all around. I'll get caught up, but what's up, everybody?
Yeah, and we're going to get to Vargas too. I think what's most encouraging, and I don't want to fully jump ahead yet, is some of the comments Dave Roberts said about where Vargas is going to be playing and his potential opportunities ahead, because you've been on it. We've discussed it several times. Third base, it's been a black hole for the Dodgers ever since Muncy went out with his oblique strain. And for one reason or another, I honestly am starting to think that maybe Muncy tore his oblique more seriously than they're letting on, just because I feel like every time he tries to do more, it comes back that, he's feeling some soreness still, and everything just kind of his timeline keeps getting kicked down the line. So let's table the Miguel Vargas talk, though.
Yeah.
Let's get into Will Smith. As I was running through kind of the quick game recap as you hopped in, obviously, Will, 3 home runs tonight. First time in his career he's done that. He joined Roy Campanella, Mike Piazza, and Yasmani Grandal as the only Dodgers catchers with a 3-homer game in franchise history. If you're wondering which Dodgers at all have ever hit 4 home runs in a game, that is, do you know by any chance? Do you know one of them?
I mean, is it an old timer?
One is an old timer. Another is if I were to say his name, you'll remember what it's from.
Can I say is it Mike Piazza? Did he ever do it or no?
He doesn't have 4. So it's Gil Hodges. There's your old timer. And the more recent one, Matty Man. Here, let me put his comment.
Oh, Sean Green?
Sean Green.
Yeah. I actually remember watching the 4-homer game from Sean Green in Milwaukee way long time ago. I remember that.
So it's crazy. So Smith is in elite company, even with just the 3 homers as a catcher in one game. It seemed like a lot of the times we've been discussing him recently, whether on these live shows or we're just texting each other and writing about different things, it's been because of all the rest days he's been getting, right? It seemed like they were giving him more rest days than he maybe needed. Dave Roberts also came out and said Will Smith is, he's working on some swing mechanic stuff. Now, I know there wasn't much concern about the skid he was in, because every player goes through that. 2, we've seen Smith sort of struggle a little bit and then bounce back. But I think tonight was certainly a good reminder to see him, as we have here up on our screen, if you're watching us, the best catcher in baseball, who that is.
Yeah, I would say, it's hard to say no, right? And everybody puts so much stock into all-star game appearances and votes, and it's just easy to remember when watching a game like tonight. Fans can get it wrong, and fans can vote in droves, and then that happens. But he raises his average tonight from 259 all the way up to 276 in one game. He runs a perfect box score for himself here. And on top of his elite defense that he's playing this year, he's just, it's a Kickstarter to this thing, a long-term contract, and this commitment from an organization that it's like, why would you look anywhere else than a guy that you have directly in-house who wants to be here, is now with the team for, a decade. And it's just awesome to see, man. He looked tonight against, Brian Hudson, who was having an amazing season, really scoops that down right off the pole. Just, it was unbelievable. Wasn't that Batman?
Yeah, real quick, I did miss Rod. I apologize. This super chat. He says they have got to give Vargas more at bats. I meant to put it up as we were briefly discussing him. So yeah, I agree, Rod. We did sort of touch on that, and I'll also bring this back up, Rod, once we get to the Vargas portion of tonight's show. And I do apologize for not putting that up sooner. But yeah, it is like you said. The All-Star stuff is always interesting because it is like Dave Roberts came out and said, I wish Dodger fans were a little bit more active. I think he told him like get off your hands type thing. He tried to be a little bit diplomatic about it.
Yeah.
We
know what he wanted to say.
Yeah, but I mean, look, like, and we have seen Dodger fans who are upset that Will Smith isn't voted into the All-Star game, and if you're somebody who voted, then sure, that's an argument you can take up. But if you weren't someone who participated in All-Star game voting, then like, how upset can you really be that Will Smith wasn't voted a starter? But that's neither here or there. He's going to make the All-Star game. The players and managers and all that will end up putting him on, so he will get there certainly at some point.
Yep.
What did you think? I don't know. You and I haven't had a chance. So what did you make of all the off days that Will had been getting the past 2 weeks? Was it planning? I know that we both agree that he's not. The Dodgers just aren't going to run their catcher out there 150 games out of the year. But did it seem like it was getting a little excessive, or there wasn't necessarily a rhyme or reason to some of them?
I would say more so. Aside from like if Dave comes out and says we just want to get Will some more rest, it would be hard for me to say anything else, especially when if he's coming out of a slump, if he's hitting better, if he's his defense doesn't slump, that's not going to be the thing. I think more of it was just like you said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's tough to see Austin Barnes in there because of what he provides, not only offensively or lack thereof, but how much he gets run on. And it's tough when you have a catcher in Will Smith who immediately bolsters your bench just by being there. But it's like you'd prefer him to be in the starting lineup. You can't give him days off at the DH because of Ohtani. So it's either he plays or he doesn't. And then if you use Will Smith later in the game, he's got to be in there. Then you have no catcher on the bench. So it's a tough spot to be in, especially like now. I don't know if they're trying to protect Will against too much run after last season. He dealt with some concussions, right? So I don't know if they're protecting him from himself. They're just trying to keep him as fresh as possible. But I think always the concern is that when you see some uptick in offense from someone who has been slumping and then they get these days off, then us as fans, we start to look at it like, why are you sitting someone who's coming out of something? You might kill some momentum. So I think that, as long as he just maintains this, we know he's incredibly consistent. And this is just one of those where it's like, okay, we know what you've got here. But as far as the extra days off, until Dave says something's wrong or like there's some reason to it, I'm just going to chalk it up as just getting him some extra rest. But it's difficult when you have Austin Barnes up there, who is a net negative, and he's just more of a commanding. Be honest, Matt, I have to get to this. What's your gut thing about, like, if you tell me that Austin Barnes just calls a good game and pitchers trust him and the coaching staff trusts him, and that's the reason why he gets so much time? Do you think that's just that simple?
Yeah, that, and I think coupled with the Dodgers in general like to give their players as much rest as possible.
Yeah.
But I think, fans don't like to hear it. But yes, Austin Barnes, like the pitchers trust him. The coaches trust him. And I get that there does need to be some on-field production. We have also seen the Dodgers willingly, not just this year, other years, willingly run players out there and give them every opportunity and then some to sort of turn a corner or bounce back. And I think that's just what this scenario is. I think also if you look around baseball, how many backup catchers are good? Like how many teams like their backup catchers?
Yeah, no, there's only a few. There's only a couple. Where and then it's not everybody can be the Atlanta Braves. So you have two starting quality catchers there, but also it draws us back to that the Dodgers would be able to have Austin Barnes in the lineup more, and we wouldn't really notice it if the supporting cast at the bottom part of the order had more production there. Then we wouldn't care so much. But it's that Austin Barnes has come up in spots in the 9-hole where you need a runner on base, where you have runners in scoring position, or you just need to do something, and he just winds up as the guy. He did something the other day, but moments are far and few. But to stick with Will Smith and stay on that topic, it's just if it's just as simple as getting him some more days, get him off his feet a little bit, it's fine. It's fine. It's amazing to see, him do this type of stuff and say, how does he not play every day? But we have to remember and keep ourselves as a Blake moment where I'm saying, let's, keep the feet on the ground and say that it's okay for people to get days off.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a comment in here that was off topic, but now I can't find it. It was about your guy, Christian. Oh, here we go. Maria G says, also, Christian Walker went 0 for 4 today in San Diego because, of course, he did.
It's insane. It's since we didn't get a chance to talk. Like, it's what Christian Walker does is just something else. Like, you just know, guys are just locked in and they're just locked in. And it felt like it was the JD Martinez game from years and years ago when just no matter what you were doing, he's putting something out. But this is, we've never seen anything like it. We can say like we have, but we haven't seen anything like it.
Yeah, I now feel the Diamondbacks have given me 2 moments where I've thought I've never seen anything like this. One was last year, Game 3 of the NLDS, when Blake and I were out there at Chase Field and watching Lance Lynn make postseason history against the Diamondbacks, and then watching Christian Walker in this series this week. I mean, it was crazy, and I know we were texting, but like I don't understand why they didn't just start walking him or make him feel a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe throw a few inside and see if it shakes him up a little bit. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Christian Walker has gone down to San Diego. Apparently has forgotten how to hit while he's down there. Let's get back to tonight's game. Tyler Glasnow, final line was 6 innings pitched, so give him credit for providing some length because that's been few and far between from Dodger starters recently. He did finish with 7 strikeouts. The big blemish was the go-ahead grand slam for the Brewers that gave them a lead that obviously ultimately didn't hold up because the Dodgers were able to rally. Glasnow's start was the longest by a Dodgers pitcher since Gavin Stone's complete game shutout on June 26th. It was a step forward for him personally also after going only just 3 innings against the Giants. He said after that game that he just had no feel even in the bullpen while he was warming up. Like I said, he did finish with 7 strikeouts tonight. What do you make of this outing? I mean, on one hand, yes, it's the 7 strikeouts over 6 innings. He retired the first 9 batters faced. He was perfect through 3 innings, then ran into some trouble in the 4th, and that really ended up being the only trouble spot.
Yeah.
So what do you take from this start? Is there anything to really take? Is it just, hey, it's a long season, nobody's going to be perfect?
Well, he's a power. Yeah, exactly. It's a power pitcher. I see a lot of people saying in chat, David, I'm with you. It was 1 bad inning. You look at it, the Dodgers only gave up 4 hits on the day. 3 of them came in the 4th inning. Like you saw, like trying to sneak a fastball by Rhys Hoskins, who sits dead red, is a tough thing. And he just got beaten on one pitch. He just had a rough inning, came out and shoved the rest of the time. He gave the Dodgers 6 innings, 7 punches. That's awesome. He's going to get there, but it's that when he's just tough time when all the command isn't there. You can see how volatile he can be, but that's what we've seen from Tyler Glasnow. I think even days of, Tampa Bay. Like that, we Dodgers have benefited from that too. Jock Peterson been the beneficiary of teeing off on fastballs, how it is. So we know how it is. You just have to stay out of the heart of the plate. Yeah, Kenny, I'm with you. Stay out of. You can't put fastball center cut. You just in that type of spot. Everybody has to understand when you get yourself into that trouble with missing, on the zone, you're not getting corner calls. You're missing stuff so wide. You just have to get something over the plate. And if you get beat, you get beat, and that's just how it is. I'd rather. It's going to sound ridiculous. But you'd rather a pitcher try to pound the zone than giving up free bags and free runs by, trying to nibble. And, when you are too fine, you're going to give up walks. And when you're trying to come in the zone, sometimes when you don't have a feel for it, in 1 inning, Tyler Glasnow didn't have the feel for it. He gave up a slam. After that, he continued on his start and went straight through it. So in a nutshell, like it's hard. You look at that line and you're like, that's a tough one. But if you look how he rebounded and just had 1 inning, the Dodgers allowed 4 hits on today. 3 of them came in that 4 innings. So this is a game today where the pitching staff stepped up. I think if you just, I'm not going to say we're going to Men in Black to 1 inning and act like it didn't happen because it did, but we can see how that type of out, like that spot there can really be magnified and just kind of, if the offense isn't going through, or it's not bouncing back and the bullpen's not all locked in, you can see how that 1 inning can change an entire game, but it didn't. But Glasnow, for me, what we take away, everybody in chat will agree, just 1 inning. Yeah.
Michael Carrillo says, well, no, that was the wrong comment from Michael. He said, yeah, here we go. He says, Glasnow has a bit of a home run problem lately. I guess on one hand, maybe it's kind of fair, but if you go through his game logs, 1 home run tonight, no home runs his last start, 1 home run June 22nd to the Angels, no home runs allowed June 16th against the Royals, 2 home runs allowed out at Yankee Stadium. But I mean, I think it's Yankee Stadium. You need to take a little bit of a grain of salt. And that might be where that was part of a 3 starts in a row. That was the 3rd one. And so then 2 starts before that, he gave up 1 home run each. So I guess, maybe some home run trouble is popping up more recently than earlier in the season. I think if you look through, well, no, it's been relatively consistent, I guess. I did also see a comment in here. I forgot
It's
who.
it's on with his career norms. It's lower. This is lower than his last few years. Aside from last year, it's point. Yeah.
Do you are you gonna attribute any of whether it's home runs or sort of recent like struggles, if you will, as much as tonight was just really one inning fatigue? He's obviously, there's his career high in innings pitched, like that's becoming a talking point at this point. Do you think he's maybe getting tired?
No, I'm going to say no. I think he has that in him. I think he has that length. I think it's easy for us to do that just because the easy statistics, like innings wise, says that. But I think until I don't know, that's an easy low hanging fruit thing to say. Yeah, he's hitting an innings limit that he had for an entire 2023 season. So it's like possibly you could say that, but I'm just going to say he just had some innings and some spots where he just gets a little bit too fastball reliant when his secondary stuff, he's not able to land it. But until I see like that homer, like those homers become like big outlier numbers, he's on par and slightly lower than he has been prior to his 2023 year. Last year, he was at just under 1 per 9. This year, he's right there again. So it's lower than we've seen baseline through his career. So I don't think it's been a problem. He still has an incredible whip. I think it's still sub 1. Yeah, 0.93 on the year. So he's doing his job. It's just been, some self-induced traffic.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our next topic, which I'm glad Scott was able to hop on with me tonight. Because like I said at the beginning of the show, Miguel Vargas is somebody he's been saying needs to get more playing time. So we got a rare opportunity to start tonight. Like not whether it's left-handed, right-handed, it hasn't mattered. Vargas has been glued to the bench, it seemed. He definitely made the most of it, hit a home run, also had a single, even made a nice catch running down the line in foul territory in left field, which was good to see because it's been a little bit of an adventure for him out there as he's learned the new position, and he's obviously inexperienced. But the biggest point here, and let me throw up Rod's super chat from earlier. Just a reminder, it says they have got to give Vargas more at-bats now with an exclamation point. Dave Roberts, before the game, said it's possible that Vargas, maybe down the line, will start receiving some starts at third base. He's played there plenty of times in his minor league career. But whenever being up with the Dodgers just hasn't happened. One inning there, he was obviously moved around to second base and now left field. I imagine there's some relief that it does seem like the Dodgers, one way or another, are committed to getting Vargas more starts, whether it's in left field or third base now potentially.
Yeah, no, I think for all of us, I even think for you, I think for fans, we touched on it earlier, and like, I'd love to ask this before we answer it. And like, is this relief? Was it odd to you that they just weren't finding at bats for him, even though he wasn't striking out? He wasn't making hit mistakes young hitters make. He looked very comfortable in the box. Do you think that it was just, okay, you could either answer this two ways, and I'm going to answer. I want to hear what you say. Was it as easy as he's only played left field and they just didn't have the spots for him? Or was it they wanted to see what these other veteran guys had before they did that? Because it's an odd thing either way.
Yes. So what struck me is when Vargas was up the first time early in the season, and it looked like, he had started to make a little bit of noise when he had the one at bat here, the one start here. And Dave Roberts was asked, like, is he earning more playing time? And he basically said no, that he's only up here because of circumstance and there was injuries on the roster. And to me, that was pretty telling because, like, we've been around Dave, like he's methodical with what he says publicly. 9.5 times out of 10, he's going to support his player. He's going to back them. He's going to speak optimistically. It doesn't matter. So for me, it was pretty telling that he came out and said, Miguel Vargas is basically only up with us right now because of injuries.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, that sentiment has sort of carried through up until now when, another injury to Jason Heyward, the Dodgers, for whatever reason, just weren't necessarily interested in giving him playing time.
Yeah.
You and I weren't on a video together. I think I may have done it with Anthony last Friday when I was on with him. I brought up the point, like, look, like the Dodgers are looking for an answer at third base. Why not just try Miguel Vargas? Like, what do you have to lose at this point? Kike's not hitting. Chris Taylor has started heating up a little bit, if that's what you want to call it, but there's still some inconsistencies. Like it hasn't fully been sustained yet. Kevin Biggio, I don't even like, however you want to describe that, whatever's going on there. So, what did you have to lose? It's my
I think that in like I'm with you on the third base thing. I saw the clips today, and it's kind of looks like he has to start from the fundamentals again. And it is. Everybody's got to understand that when you place a major leaguer, you say, all right, you're out of the infield. You're not doing anything. He logged no innings in AAA anywhere other than left field. And other than that, he was just DH. So for them to say, yeah, we're going to cram at bats down our throat for Kike, who's been a bottom 5 hitter in Major League Baseball for 2 straight years, to try to find him some run. Taylor, I understand it. You don't want to cut bait because of the contract. And if they found something, they were working on it behind the scenes. We can shut up. They were doing that. And that was their plan. They don't have to tell us anything. So, but it was just weird that someone who was hitting, who has played infield beforehand, I don't know why you wouldn't just play Taylor in left field, play Kike in left field or the outfield when they are better out there. Kike is a better outfielder than he is an infielder. It's just how it is. Taylor, more versatile out there as well. I don't know why it wasn't a conversation from the start. It just, a lot of people are saying it in chat. It was just odd. It was some weird stuff there. The conversation were they just going to let him get, a little bit of run and get these stats up and then just hide him until the deadline? But he's kind of playing himself into a spot where it's everybody's seeing it.
Yeah. And sorry, not to cut you off. I don't even know if they could afford to trade him, because you don't put
another hole. It's another bat.
Don't put the cart before the horse, right? Like,
yeah.
So I don't want to look ahead to next season, but like we've discussed it, the outfielders that the Dodgers have after this year,
yeah,
it's not like you need somebody. And so if you trade Miguel Vargas, you better be getting probably an outfielder back who can plug in next year, because if not, like right now for me, he's the projected starting left fielder come opening day 2025.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that sort of complicated matters. The Dodgers, my guess is they had some reservations over the fact that they had already moved him around. He was, supposed to be at second base last season. That didn't work out. Now he's in left field. Do we really want to move him to third base? I think they tried holding off because the experience there at the major league level is non-existent. But now you've run into a point where you sort of need it. I think also I have even wondered, do you even try him back at second base? Because I thought he looked okay when he was playing. He got sent down last season because he wasn't hitting. It wasn't, a defensive issue where he was just awful at second base, in my opinion. So I started even wondering, if Gavin Lux isn't necessarily going to be giving you anything, why not just try Miguel Vargas there? Like, get his bat in the lineup, especially if he is going to keep hitting. And this isn't somebody, if he'd been going 0 for 3 with 2 or 3 strikeouts pretty much every start he was making, I would understand, okay, like he's not an answer either. Like he's not hitting just like Kike, Taylor, and all these other guys. But that hasn't been the case.
So. Yeah, no, it's now it's going to, everybody agree. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to see Mike, I'm going to see E, I'm going to see everybody agree with this. It's not going to be another Gavin Lux situation. It's not the same type of thing where it's, we hope the bat's there, the defense, it's a different type of thing. It's not another situation where they're having to force somebody in the lineup just because they can play a position. It's the Dodgers are in a spot where their bench options are so thin. You have to go with guys who have some upside, some positive run. And we're talking about Miguel Vargas, who has, by all the purposes, he was their best hitting prospect in the organization for a bit. So it's like, we know what he's capable of doing. And somebody hit me up on, I think it was Kevin, hit me up on Twitter about it, that he broke his hand. He got hit in the hand twice, a matter of 2 weeks here, and it derailed his entire season. And once he went down there, what's up, Blake, Miggy V, we're here. But he turned his entire season around. So it's the only player on the bench that I actually feel confident in at the current moment, because I know you've told me that a lot of these guys like Taylor, Kike, they've got postseason success and pedigree, and I'm with you. I agree with that. Like, they have those moments, and it's hard to detract from that, because you just can't. They've done it before, but it's getting through this time. It's, can they afford to keep doing this? Because at a certain point, those guys will continue to struggle, and just saying, "Yep, flip the switch." It just. The Dodgers aren't in a spot where I feel they can do this. They can keep running these guys out there, just flipping a coin and praying. For these guys, the ones that are struggling, it's like an 8-sided, die. Like you have to land on one spot for it to click right with how many pieces they're trying to get right on that bench. Because with Heyward out now you completely lack a lefty, like a righty killer. You're relying on Kevin Biggio, Gavin Lux to be those guys. And you need somebody. Without James Outman up, who knows what he's going to do? Like if he's a 4A ball player, that's just what he is. But now we're talking about there's just no surefire thing. And Miguel Vargas is the closest thing we have to somebody who's been consistent while he's been up in the major leagues this season. So they have to find run. I don't care where he's playing. We're fortunate to have Ohtani, but they have to find at bats for Miguel Vargas, whether it's at second base, third base. Gavin Lux can't keep seeing the field just because he can be a second baseman. It's just I'm not going to say it's unacceptable, but it would be really poor decision-making for them if Miguel Vargas would just sit on the bench with as good as he's looked just because Gavin Lux can play second base. And I think that's where I know that's might be an overreaction. It might be too much considering where they're at, but Miguel Vargas is earning more playing time and they have to give it to him.
Yeah, no, I think those are all fair points. And I will be shocked I'll be surprised if Gavin Lux is on the team past the trade deadline. Just because
you say you will be shocked if he is?
Not shocked. I'll be surprised. So shocked is like surprise. Surprise is below shocked. So I will be surprised if Gavin Lux is still on the roster past the trade deadline, just because I don't see. Although if Miguel Rojas continues to regress,
one of us.
Yeah, if Rojas continues to sort of regress a little bit, maybe the Dodgers are going to feel like Mookie has to stay at shortstop at that point. I've said I'm not fully convinced that they go for a big named all-star, or excuse me, big caliber shortstop. But I want to bring up this comment from Hallelujah One, because you mentioned you were.
Did we lose him? I think we did, guys. Is it me?
I think there we go. We're both back now.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. We apologize for that, everybody. Hallelujah One says it's concerning how the Dodgers developing and managing position players has been bad. This is something that you and Blake have sort of agreed on, that from a position player side in terms of hitters, it's a little concerning. Do you want to kind of share your thoughts on that with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning. I think that prospect development wise, I would say it's just been frustrating that it was on perfect display tonight that Will Smith is the only one that we've seen Andrew Friedman draft, develop, and have him brought up to the major leagues and with the Dodgers and have success there. So a lot of it, Mike, I'm with you where I see you, dude. Like we've been on it. Like drafting is another thing, but having them get drafted, developed, and be a highly regarded prospect, crack a top 100 and actually make it to the major leagues and have success with the Dodgers. It's just those opportunities have been far and few, because how often do we have someone like Miguel Vargas was that, and then he got hurt? There's not many times where I was rooting for Miguel Vargas so hard, because there aren't many times when you get a prospect to have a clear runway from the start of a season with the Dodgers, because they always, consistently want a veteran guy in there who, who's a little bit more of a surefire thing, or they have seen do it. So he's been the last one that I've been in about going ahead, but there's just been something with Andrew Friedman in drafting and developing hitters, because it's so much easier to draft pitchers or bring them in and then give them a philosophy and watch them thrive and then either utilize them or trade them out for something else. We've seen them do that with Michael Busch. He just didn't have a spot, and they reset the clock and got a very talented lefty in Jackson Ferris. So it's just, you see them and how they do this and how Andrew Friedman has done it. It stinks, because when you would like to look on their farm system for a bat to bring up, it's just either they don't trust them or they're not going to get rid of a veteran guy. Because I've said, like, what are you doing with Hunter Fiducia? What are you doing with him? I think he's 27 now. A lot of these prospects age out where they're not desirable in trades. They're getting up there. There might be cost controlled and on a prospect contract, but they're not highly regarded trade pieces because it's past that window where they're saying, yes, they're a young piece. Like James Outman's not young for us, for our eyes, because we haven't seen him. He is,
right,
but age wise, he's not. And that's just up and down all the AAA roster. That's just how it is.
Yeah. That was just, I'm glad Scott had a chance to give you guys kind of a glimpse of a lot of stuff. We sort of are in communication behind the scenes as a staff, a lot of jokes, but then plenty of baseball talk along the way. And I do want to apologize again. I don't know what happened with my internet. Blake said that there was a dramatic pause, so hopefully that had you guys
I thought it was me.
Captivated. Kenny says the hamsters are overworked. History Man said potato Wi-Fi strikes again. Stop stealing neighbors' Wi-Fi. Yeah, I don't know. My internet's usually very good. So again, I apologize. I apologize for that, but thank you everybody.
It's all good, guys. Shout out to almost 1,000 in here, by the way.
Sticking through it. Yeah, good Friday night crowd after an exciting game. Let's get to sort of our last kind of topic. You mentioned him, James Outman, and we're going to also take questions after this. So in a few minutes, go ahead and start those with question in all caps, so it makes it a little bit easier for Scott and I to sort of pick out. Outman is back up, like you said, because of Heyward's injury. So the good news, let's just touch on Heyward really quick. If you saw his post-game interview on Thursday, you probably came away pretty concerned with the way he was talking about how his knee was feeling after trying to rob Jock of that home run in the first inning. Fortunately, an MRI revealed it's just a bone bruise, so no damage to the meniscus or other ligaments in the knee. And at least that's what Dave Roberts has relayed. And so we can obviously take it with a grain of salt. I know in the past sometimes things have been a little bit slippery, but Heyward at minimum is on the 10-day IL. It seems like it's more precautionary just to give him the rest rather than have him push things through. And now James Outman is back up. He's going to get a chance to play, Dave said. It's not going to be always, facing a right-handed starter, because he did also say that he wants to get Vargas some of those at-bats against righties. Although, don't come tweeting Scott and I tomorrow saying we're wrong. Dave Roberts said tonight after the win that Miguel Vargas will not be in the lineup on Saturday, but I think he's back in there on Sunday. So James Outman is going to get some chances again. And, last year there was some good and bad. He struggled this season, ended up getting demoted when Heyward came back from his back injury, performed better in OKC than he had at the major league level. Obviously, AAA and being at the majors are much different. How optimistic are you that maybe the Dodgers can get a little something out of Outman this time around?
I mean, like glove-wise, we know what we get with James Outman. Like, he's had moments where it's been spotty, but as always, like any center fielder, any player, if you're not a highly regarded defensive guy, but that's who James Outman was coming up. What do I think I'll see with him? I wasn't overly impressed with him in AAA. I really wasn't. Since June 1st, he was below, league average guy, 94 WRC plus. So stuff I'm not in love with. I'm worried that we've seen who he is. He's going to have to shake the thing of a 4A ball player until he's not. I don't believe he'll be that impactful if he continues the same trend. And I don't see anything that he's done in AAA that will make me think otherwise. It's just that it would be a nice platoon. If he's able to, with Andy Pages and what he does against lefties, much better numbers against lefties, Andy Pages, which is great. If they found a platoon and James Outman and him, I'm fine. All he has to do, I see GI, all he has to do, James Outman, is hit against right-handed pitching. And if that's what he's able to do, we're able to work counts, then he's fine. They're in a spot where we just can't afford to have two platoon guys that aren't working completely across the board. It's just they don't have the bench to do it. And I know Jeff and I spoke the other night about how it won't matter, but when the current position that the Dodgers are in, they'll need those platoon guys to actually contribute. It's not just okay to be just okay. You need to have some actual above league average bats there for it to make an impact, to warrant playing just against one-handedness. So if James Outman's able to be a little bit above league average against righties, great, because we know what Pages has already been against lefties.
Yeah, I think, not to completely go on a tangent. For me, this is where I get frustrated with the Dodgers. I'm going to call it over-reliance on platoons. I don't think if you have a platoon at one position, fine. Yep. Maybe a second one, okay. But if you start going beyond that, which basically their entire outfield has been a platoon for the most part.
Yeah.
That's where I think, true. That's where you start running into problems, because then if their injuries happen, no matter what, and as much as you can't go into a season saying, I know X player is going to miss X games because of a sprained ankle. You can't predict it to that extent. Yeah. But certainly you have to anticipate stuff, unfortunately, going wrong. And so when that happens, when platoon players are struggling, you run into the situation where, we were discussing earlier, what are you doing now? And that's where, if you're not developing guys, like, is that part of the problem too? Like, one thing I think the Dodgers have always been quick to sort of do is immediately platoon a young hitting prospect. Like, no, he's just not going to face left-hand pitching at all. He's going to platoon, and that's just the role he's going to be in. And so then it, I think becomes a little bit of a problem. I did see a question in here about Outman. I understand some of the concern with him offensively. Felipe Jones wants to know, does Outman just end up being a defensive replacement in later innings?
God, that would be such a letdown. That would be, if that's what he is, that would be such a letdown. No, I can't be okay with that. I just can't. I think Pages is much more explosive as a hitter than James Outman. I trust Andy Pages way more than James Outman. Defense aside, it's just, is James Outman that much better? Like, would you be okay with that? Like, would you be okay with where they are offensively, with who they are, to just strictly make James Outman a back end guy?
No, not right away. I mean, I would give him occasional starts here and there, but yeah, to say like he's only going to be able to play defense for us, that I think would end up being a pretty tough sell.
They're not in a spot for that. They're not. It's the same thing with the catching situation. There have to be, scouts always said he's a fourth outfitter. Blake, yeah, like it. There needs to be. This deadline is going to say a lot of what they need to do, because they need there's work that has to be done here. I don't just harp on it and perseverate on the topic that their bench is so weak just to crap on them. It's because it's unlike this organization to be in this spot. And a lot of people joke that they just have legacy players and they just want to stock the room with clubhouse guys and go from there. But if Chris Taylor doesn't continue this upward trajectory offensively, and his Linsanity run is over, and Kike, doesn't improve at all, and he stays on the roster, Kevin Biggio, he's got to go. They need to bring some contributors in, because then it'll lessen what we look at James Outman for. They're not in a position where they can just use guys in specific spots, because they need contributors. They're just not in this spot. It's a different place to be.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So we didn't get, it's not a question, but it is a little bit more of a comment, but I'll turn it into a question for you. And as a reminder, just guys, if you have questions for us, just put the word question in all caps, and then go ahead and ask what you want us to answer. We have a few more minutes here. John Bleeding Blue says, Scott, Dodger legend Tommy Davis always said if you can hit, the Dodgers would find a position for you to play. That used to be the Dodgers brand. Whew. Is it like this would almost apply to Miguel Vargas, right? Like, if he's somebody who, at least right now on the current roster, who I think is hitting without necessarily a position, but it does sort of seem like maybe they're going to try and find him some playing time.
It has to be. They're not in a position to keep doing this, because I'll come on here on a Tuesday night and everybody will say, Scott, why are you complaining about, or why are you even critiquing the offense? They had an explosion for 11 runs. And then the next day they go 2 or get shut out. And then I don't like saying I told you so. But you got to read the tea leaves and just look at how fast the drop off can happen. Like, if Will Smith doesn't go up there tonight, Ohtani goes, I think, 0 for today. And it's just, that's how it is. They're not deep enough. They're not deep enough to just keep guys on there. Like, if you are hitting, you need to be playing. You need to be in the lineup, so then they can evaluate the rest. It's hard to evaluate players who are sitting on the bench and contributing when they're not playing. So the baseline. It's just how much longer are we going to see Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, Kevin Biggio, and guys who just aren't contributing? Like, if the switch wasn't flipped for this part, how much longer can you allow them to do that before it becomes detrimental to other guys on your roster?
Yeah, and speaking of Ohtani going 0 for 5 tonight, I tweeted it was his birthday, so happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday. Oh, no. It's happening again. Oof.
Losing me again?
I guess so.
Oh, I think I stayed up. I don't know. All right.
Sorry, guys. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, Blake is saying it was me again. I don't know what is going on. Anyway, Ohtani went into tonight 2 for 17 with like 3 strikeouts, 1 home run on his birthday. So he strangely has struggled. But anyway, let's get to some questions before my internet potentially maybe goes out for good.
We got a thing from Rod.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Rod. Taylor's already stopped hitting 1 for 12. I mean, yeah, like that's what I mentioned earlier. he did start to show some signs of life over the past 2-ish weeks.
Yeah, great game in San Fran.
But that there had been some little bit of inconsistency more recently. So yeah, I mean, that is something to sort of keep in mind and be concerned about. I think that further proves Scott's point of the Dodgers bench needing to potentially be addressed. Let's see. All right, let's find some questions. Yes, I see the Wi-Fi, the internet jokes. Yeah, my internet is wearing it tonight. I'm gonna have to get off and reset everything before I play Xbox tonight, because it's one thing for it to mess up here. If I'm in the middle of gaming and it cuts out, we have problems.
Yeah, then you'll see the rage, guys. We're not, I'm not the important one. He's gonna lead me up here.
Here, Felipe says, with the result of the D-back series, do you guys think this team is any better than it was in October of last year? I think for me, this is tough to answer because the team, I think they are. Yes, they are better.
He's referring to the Dodgers being better.
Yeah, I think that they are. They're just not. They're not at, even though they're not at full strength right now.
I don't know. That's a tough one. They just fell into a black hole last year. I don't know. Pitching staff wise, I think they're better. I really do. I think they're better this year. Muncy, Mookie, sure, but I still don't believe in their bench. I still don't believe in their contributors enough for me to be completely sold on it. But that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that right now. That's tough. I have to see how they perform in the playoffs, and then we'll get back to it. We can hold that one till later, like in the season.
Yeah,
after the first round.
Bring it up again, and Scott will answer it for you guys.
Yeah.
What about this one from Alleluia One? Has the starting pitching made things worse for the front office at the trade deadline? I certainly think so. I mean, I think Yamamoto's injury alone made it worse, and then I think Bobby Miller, and it's only been, what is it, 2 starts back from the IL, either 2 or 3, so not a huge sample size, but he also wasn't great before he got hurt. But Bobby Miller not really not being at the level that the team expected.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers right now, I'm not comfortable with. I know you and I seem to be in agreement with the optimism or lack thereof with Yamamoto contributing in October this year. But do you think that starting pitching has made things maybe more challenging, or at least either changed the planning or made things more difficult for the front office?
It has, certainly. And I can't stand up here and act like I didn't just say like a month ago or so that I believe this pitching staff can win a World Series title. I think their bullpen is good enough to do so. But again, losing Yamamoto, we always get fooled when we say, they probably have enough. But then it's those other guys, the Landon Knacks, the Gavin Stones, the players who are trending way up, get pushed into a larger role, and then they get exposed just a tiny bit, and then we say, okay, are they really a number 2? Are they really a contributing arm? Now you lose one of your front end guys, and then it just becomes that much thinner. Walker Buehler is not who he was. We don't know what we're getting out of Clayton Kershaw. Bobby Miller, we have to see. He's still in spring training mode. But if they've already shown a willingness or at least inquiring about front end guys, then they understand that they do have a definite need. If they act on that, it's another thing. But I think there are enough arms out there like Jack Flaherty. Everybody knows about the Crochet interest, so we'll see if they meet that price. But there are a number of arms out there. Like I think Flaherty would be a terrific ad if they don't decide to dive too much into, Crochet and go that route. I think there's enough to supplement it. To replace Yamamoto, that's a completely another thing in itself. But I know that Tyler Glasnow is an ace, I believe, what Gavin Stone has. And until we see, Bobby Miller's got the stuff. I just need to see him, we'll say, 4 more starts, and then we'll really know. But yes, it has made it tough, I think. But are you in agreement with me that this bullpen is rock solid, or you've got to see something else?
I don't want to sit on the middle of the fence. I could see it going either way. They have been so far.
What do they need? I don't want to give you a yes or no. That's not my thing. I don't like asking those. What can improve for you to just what do you think they need to improve there? If you believe in them, cool. What do you think they might need to improve on the margins a bit?
I think in the bullpen specifically.
Sure. Yeah.
In the bullpen specifically, I think they need to add somebody with some experience. It doesn't need to be a closer. I think somebody who's obviously, velocity plays up, so that'll certainly help, but somebody with experience. And the reason I say that is, look, Anthony Banda has been great. They've gotten, Yohan Ramirez has been great after struggling early on. My
Yeah.
concern with those guys is they're young and inexperienced, and in the playoffs, that could go either way. And the Dodgers aren't a team that could really afford, in my opinion, especially with the starting pitching the way it is, to sort of pray and hope that their bullpen is going to live up to what it did in the regular season. So that would be my concern there. So if they added kind of another, back end arm, it could end up being Joe Kelly once he's back from the injury list. It could be Brusdar Graterol once he's back, but we don't necessarily know. Like, you have to see what those guys are going to be also.
Yeah. Everybody in chat, I see you guys say, Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott. I think it could be that area of the roster right now could be, guys, we all do this. What's up, guys? What's up, Tim? It could be that Andrew Friedman's going to look in the camera and say, our deadline acquisitions for the bullpen are Brusdar, or maybe a little bit after that, are Brusdar, are Joe Kelly. And that's the route that they go. And I think that's the likely of them. If I said there's 3 spots, offensively, and this is a good question, Matt. Here you go. This one's for you. Everybody buckle in. 3 options. You're starting pitching, the offense, or the bullpen. Which group is Andrew Friedman more likely to say that our deadline acquisitions are already with the team? And if he stands pat?
The offense. Because
offense, and he doesn't do anything?
Because it's Mookie, it's Muncy. Like, those are big bats.
We'd be pissed.
Probably.
Everybody would be so mad at that. That'd be insane. Yeah, guys. Yeah, it's a good question, because it's like, if that's the route that they go and they just say, yep, the bullpen that we have is the bench that we have is what we have, and going forward there. Ooh, it's hard, but that's a good question. So I'll keep asking that one as it keeps going on. But I think a lot of people will be mad. I'd say the bullpen. I say the bullpen. I don't think they get bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. My answer, I don't think, maybe I misunderstood the question. I don't think it's fully, they don't address the offense at all. I think that would be the one that they're most likely to do, hey, we traded for, this under the radar guy because we have Muncy and Mookie coming back. That's going to help our offense type thing.
Okay.
I think a bigger move is more likely to come. I mean, honestly, in the rotation. Bullpen is probably a good choice, but I'm still not sure. Like I said, I still worry about some of the inexperience.
My worry with the bullpen, I've spoke on a few different shows on Dodgers territory with Clint. I've said that the bullpen I'm confident in because of the options, and they just have a formula that's working right now. But it's because of their age that we really have to look in. They have so many arms with miles on them. That's where we have to kind of say, okay, if stuff starts to go wrong and sideways, that's where we could see there's maybe way too much and they're getting taxed. That's why we're seeing Trinan falter a bit. Daniel Hudson's on a burner, so let's enjoy it. But if they don't have, so could be experience, but it also could be getting someone that can hold up down the season, because it's a good question. I like your answer. You could go a couple different ways. If anybody says starters, oh my gosh. I want to get you on here and explain why you'd be okay with the starters. If someone says we're getting big Clayton Kershaw and Buehler will be back and we don't need to address it at all, tough hill to die on.
Yeah, that would be tough. All right, we have a couple super chats and we're going to close this thing down. John Bleeding Blue says Miguel Vargas was taking ground balls at third base today after Dave Roberts said he was a left fielder. Are they finally trying to get him in the lineup? Yes. So if you missed our Miguel Vargas segment, the third base thing, it's not going to happen tomorrow, or I would even say in a handful of days. It seems Dave Roberts did say down the line that Miguel Vargas might see time at third base, and a lot of that is because Max Muncy's recovery is just going slower than they expected. And I think Miguel Vargas has, I guess, finally maybe sort of hit his way into the lineup, and so they're trying to figure out a way how to get his bat in there. Honestly, yeah. I would just keep him in left field for the most. It's not like there's another left fielder banging on the door that you need to create an opportunity for.
It also doesn't hurt, John. Same thing. It also doesn't hurt. If Miguel Vargas can look competent at third base, then it just opens them up for, deadline guys. It just opens them up for more versatility from that sense, because you're not going to get a utility man that can both play third base, left field. You're just not. But so the more versatile then you can make Miguel Vargas, if you can do it, the bat could play its way into we're just going to play you at third base and let it ride and see what happens. And, maybe we sub you out late game like they did today. It just provides him with more versatility to be able to go get a bat, go get a corner infielder. But I'm with Blake. I see him, talking here that I think an outfielder is kind of the route that they go because they have so many guys who can play infield at corner spots. And then once Mookie comes back, slide into second, let Miggy Rowe take this, step back role. And then that bat doesn't have to come so much into play because it's just, they're playing way too many guys that we're saying, yeah, they have a good glove, but they've got nothing offensively. So it's a tough spot when that's in 3 different spots on your lineup.
Yeah, so we have this question, Noisy Ninja 91. Did I miss something? Is there a reason Glasnow wasn't covering his face with his glove? Was he tipping pitches? Blake, maybe you can help. I don't know if Glasnow may have touched on that tonight in his interview. I don't necessarily think so. Again, like his trouble was pretty much in just the 1 inning. He was perfect through 3. So I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say there's any reason to be
get that super chat real quick.
There. Yeah, throwing it up here. 300 GJW, who I know you've been active on the super chats for the past, I think, like week now. So we appreciate that. It says good win. Worried Glasnow might be hitting a wall. Ohtani back to striking out a bunch. Vargas needs to play, and Lux does not. We've touched on the Vargas thing. We've touched on Lux. Ohtani, I think he struck out like 12 times in his last 27 at bats or something. So there has been a recent uptick tonight. Wasn't pretty for him. The Glasnow wall thing. I mean, we touched on it earlier. You didn't seem too concerned about him approaching his career high in innings pitched. I think the Dodgers are also giving him extra rest whenever possible.
Yep.
And again, like I get it with Glasnow, like some of the concern. If you look at his last start against the Giants and then you look at his stat line tonight, it does look like a mixed bag, but it was very much just that 1 inning. I think you said the Dodgers overall only allowed 4 hits in the entire game. And so Glasnow obviously wasn't getting knocked around a bunch.
Last start, his start against San Fran was concerning. That was one where, he goes 3 innings, allows 7 hits, 5 earned runs, only strikes out 1. Tonight, he goes 6, and aside from that 1 inning, he goes ahead and punches 7. So it was a different type of start tonight. He kind of wedged himself to a tough spot against a dead red hitter and Rhys Hoskins and put an awesome swing on it. So it's just, he went on to finish 6 innings on a night where he very well could have continued to go sideways. And then we would have a completely different outcome here. But, your ace of the staff went and gave you 6. It looks ugly in that he's given up 10 earned runs in his last 10 earned runs on 10 hits in his last 9 innings pitched. So that's where it looks a little tough. But if you actually watched the game tonight and saw the complete outing, we'd have a completely different conversation.
Yeah. And that's where I like to remind you guys that the eye test, sometimes you can't just look at the stats. You can't just you can't pull up your computer and just look at the stats. You need the eye test.
He's calling me out tonight on that. Yeah. Oh man. No savant page needed there.
No, we didn't have any baseball savant pages open up tonight when I was preparing the script for this show. Let's see. Hey, real quick. Cam says, shout out Justin Robleski. I'm not 100% sure on how to say his last name. Robleski. If you haven't heard, the report is that he's coming up to make a spot start on Sunday, which is bumping Bobby Miller back. I know we were talking about him a little while ago to give him, some extra rest before his turn. But Scott, what can you tell the people really quick on the new prospect that's going to be coming up? And by the way, we also do have, Jeff was in Reno. I'm sure you guys have seen, we have a lot of his interviews up with the AAA guys, and Robleski was one of them. So we do have that video up. So definitely check it out once we're done here. But what's a quick kind of rundown on him?
Big left-hander. He's going to come in with a power fastball, and everybody should be extremely excited. He's a fast-moving prospect in the Dodgers system. The last time we heard a guy like that was Gavin Stone, but a different type of arm. This is a kid in Justin Robleski that has a big time, solid pitch mix. He's had, a terrific 2024 so far. Was just recently called up to AAA, so they're giving him a crack. And this is one of those where just don't expect the world, but don't be surprised when you see him coming in and touching upper 90s from the left side. So it's just always intriguing. I'm excited for it. He's got a nice little cutter he'll mix in from now and then. So Emmett Sheehan. Thanks, Blake. You didn't have to do that for me. Yeah. But we saw how that turned out. Gavin Stone's the biggest guy in my mind right now. So he's a dark horse. So let's all be excited about Robleski. He's going to get to go on Sunday. So I'm excited about it. Everybody should be too.
All right, Blake is bugging about answering his questions. Blake, you're going to have to wait because we actually just got another super chat from 300 GJW. They can't get to a 6-man rotation quick enough, in my opinion. I mean, that sentiment might be fair, but I hate to break it to you. They are several pitchers away from being able to go to a reliable 6-man rotation just because they don't have enough healthy guys right now that are consistently contributing that would warrant doing something like that. But
won't.
Earlier,
not right now.
a couple weeks ago, a month ago, like that did look like it was going to be necessary just because everybody was pitching well, guys were getting healthy, but we're not there anymore.
Yep.
All right, let's put up Blake, and then I think this will be the last one. He wants me specifically. I mean, you can answer. I'm going to need some help from you on the second one. Guar, I don't know if you saw. Have you heard of a VTuber? No, I thought this was more your generation. So a virtual like YouTuber. So she like Shark Girl Guar something was at Dodger Stadium tonight. It was a pretty big deal apparently. We do have a couple videos up. We have a YouTube short. I think we posted on Instagram. We tweeted something out.
I don't know what
the Valorant. I think that's a video game though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more. Come on, Blake. Let's get. No, I don't know. He wants you to play Valorant. That's it. It's a game. It's on console now. Next, let's get one more question, Blake. Come on.
All right, let's see.
Back to work, Blake.
Yeah, Blake, get the YouTube videos up. Let's see.
I need one more. Mike, where are you? Give me one good one. Somebody give me a heater. Kenny, EB, give me something good.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing. I mean, people are. Let me see. Somebody did thank us for doing
impromptu.
I appreciate Scott hopping on because otherwise you guys are going to deal with a whole lot of me. Yeah, now people are just talking. Well, all right, here, GI. Do you think the front office does anything until they're ready to make some hard choices about the 40-man? Calling up AAA guys sounds fun in theory, but they lack the organizational depth to do that carelessly.
You take this for the first part, and I'll clean up the pieces.
Do I think they do it? I mean, yeah, there is a 40-man roster crunch like they have because they have a bunch of guys on this 60-day that are going to have to come off that they're expecting to come back. It's not like, oh, we put them on the 60-day and that's it for the season. So, yeah, I mean, something's going to have to give. I think at that point, that's where you're going to see something like, Nick Ramirez, he was optioned today so that Gus Varley could get recalled. He's now been optioned 5 times this season, which is the max.
Yep.
So if they bring him up one more time, he's either staying on the roster or he has to go on the injured list if he would need an injury, or they're going to have to DFA him. But I think those are like Nick Ramirez types, like the maybe even Michael Peterson. I hate to say because it's a great start, but like those are the guys that I think end up getting cut from the 40-man roster.
Yeah, no, it's just GI. Thanks, appreciate the wrap up question. I'm with you. I don't see anything too crazy. It's not going to be some name shock. We'll have to wait till the trade deadline to see something pretty remarkable, and then either we'll be completely shocked or we'll be telling a farewell story of some, a legacy Dodger. But until then, I don't see anything in the immediate until we know more. We've got a couple weeks to go, and then things get dicey. And I need TQT. If somebody hears from him, I need him to hit me up on Twitter. Same thing with Mike. We got to chat. We have some stuff to go over.
There you go. I saw TQT in the chat earlier, and I think if we're talking about the same Mike, he's been in here too,
cool.
As well. So yeah, there you go. Scott wants all the tweets so that you guys can talk things through. Well, did you want to add something?
No, that's it. This was an awesome impromptu show. We went an hour 5. Yeah. I love it. Appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate. We had over 1,100 people in here tonight with us. I appreciate Scott coming on. It saved me from, like I said, needing to sort of power through this one on my own. Blake said the post-game interviews are up tonight, so definitely stick around on our YouTube channel. Check those out. And we do have another super chat, so we're not leaving.
Yep, last one.
All right. John Bleeding Blue says, why is Andre Lipsius not being considered for a call-up when he is hitting 291, 19 home runs, 63 RBIs? I mean, he does play third base, so that would have addressed. I think. Well, he's not on the 40-man, right? That's one obstacle. Although they did just make some. They did some maneuvering to add Matt Gage onto the 40, so they can clearly do it if they want to. I guess. I don't know. Maybe they just assumed that Lipsius wouldn't get regular starts up with the team, and so just let him continue to play in OKC. I don't know, Scott, is there any?
No, it's just kind of some banging on the table for him. It's about finding an opportunity and someone you'll have to let go on the major league roster there. That's on the bench. It could easily be Kevin Biggio, but then you're thin from the left-hand side, I guess. I don't know how much that'll matter. I don't think it does. I would DFA Biggio and go that route if just to get him on the team, give him some run there. That's it. So yeah, I'm with you. Everybody, they need to find productive bats there. They need to find spots for players who are producing. And if it's not happening, you can't keep tossing the same stuff out. Broken record stuff. They're in a position where they can't really afford to keep giving away this bottom of the order at bats. I need production somewhere. It's got to get up.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, we'll end it on that note. As I was saying, thank you to everybody for joining tonight. Scott, a big thank you for rushing home and getting on after seeing that I was going to be swimming out in the deep end on my own.
Yes.
We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Like I said, we do have, Blake said, the post-game interviews are up. We got plenty of articles up on DodgerBlue.com. We have plenty of video content coming for you guys. And also our podcast listeners, we appreciate you as well. Just as a reminder, please, if you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the notification bell, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.